I didn't notice it at first. I came home past midnight, exhausted, half numb from the office lights still buzzing behind my eyes. The house was quiet. Not peaceful, held breath quiet. The kind that waits for something to break. Then I saw him. My son sat on the living room rug, back pressed against the couch, hands tucked under his knees as if he could fold himself out of existence. "Hey," I whispered. He lifted his face. My world buckled. There were marks on his skin. Faint. Scattered. Wrong. Not from falling. Not from playing. Marks that told a story he didn't want to tell. Something inside me hardened to stone. Before I could ask, he said, "I'm okay, Dad. I'm really okay." Too small. Too practiced. I didn't question him. If I spoke, if I thought too long, the thin layer of calm holding me together would shatter. I wrapped him in a blanket, lifted him into my arms, and drove to the emergency room like a ghost gripping a steering wheel. Fluorescent lights. Antiseptic. Distant monitors. All of it blurred together. A doctor knelt in front of him. "Can you tell me what happened, sweetheart?" My son looked at me. Something flickered in his eyes. A secret sinking under its own weight. And when he finally spoke, the temperature in the room dropped. "I didn't fall," he whispered. "It wasn't an accident. It happens when Dad's not home." My pulse didn't speed up. It slowed. Not home. Someone else. Someone inside the house. My wife stood in the corner. Arms folded. Too calm. Too composed. A stillness that felt rehearsed. When the doctor stepped out, she came to my side. "He's exaggerating," she murmured. "Smooth. Too smooth. Kids say things. You know how he gets." No, I didn't know. But suddenly, a dozen small details sharpened in my mind. The tension when I walked in earlier, the vague apology about dinner, the unfamiliar cologne in the hallway, the turned-over phone, the hush in her voice when she thought I wasn't listening. The truth wasn't just about bruises. It was about betrayal. Layered. Hidden. Rotting quietly beneath our routines. I said nothing. Just whispered, "We'll talk later." But my mind was already slicing through the lies. That night I didn't sleep. I sat beside my son, listening to his uneven breathing, watching shadows shift on his walls. In the kitchen, my wife's phone buzzed. Another message. Another secret. I didn't need anger. I needed clarity. The next morning, before leaving for work, I installed a small camera in the living room. No bigger than a button. Invisible to anyone who never paid attention. Then I checked phone records. Bank statements. Smart lock logs. Patterns formed. Gaps. Repeated entries when I wasn't home. Transactions she couldn't explain. A name, always the same man. The bruises, the distance, the late dinners, the quiet phone calls. It all aligned with painful precision. 3 days later, the footage hit my inbox. I watched it alone in my darkened office. My wife and the man walked into my house laughing, touching, moving through my space like they owned it. Then my son appeared. The man's face shifted, cold, annoyed, careless. Not intentional harm. Something worse. Indifference. A child treated like an inconvenience. The bruise made sense now. I saved the footage. Printed it. Backed it up in 3 places. And then I went home early. She was in the kitchen when I walked in. Alone. But the silence felt like his shadow. I placed the folder on the counter. "What's this?" she asked. "Your confession." She opened it. Saw the stills. Saw the timestamps. Saw herself. Her face collapsed. Not from guilt, but from realizing everything was over. She cried. Begged. Tried to assemble excuses that dissolved the moment they left her lips. I didn't argue. "I've already spoken to a lawyer," I said. Her breath caught. "You'll get visitation. After evaluation. Supervised." "You can't do that," she whispered. "I can." And I had. I handed her a suitcase I'd packed the night before. Cold, clean, final. "You need to go." She knew fighting it was useless. Power had shifted entirely. The door closed behind her with a soft click. A perfect ending. That night I sat beside my son. He leaned against me carefully, testing the space between us. "You're safe now," I said. Not a promise. Fact. He exhaled, a slow, shaking release. The living room settled into a quiet that finally felt honest. Betrayal leaves marks you can't see. But truth rearranges everything. When I turned off the lights, the darkness didn't swallow me. It bowed. Because for the first time in years, I wasn't stumbling through it. I was the one who turned it off.